Greta Thunberg, she started doing her climate strikes, school strikes, when she was 15, I think. She's might be 20 now.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, she's 20, and not much has changed since she started. I read an article, an interview with her. Maybe it's already been over a year since that came out, and they asked her, well, has there been any progress? Has it been positive? Have you made a difference? And she said, no. So far, we failed because nothing has changed. So there's really nothing to celebrate right now, because we have not gotten governments to take it seriously. So it's still really about trying to get the government to take climate change seriously, to really listen to what the scientists are saying, to read the IPCC reports, because I don't think that they actually are reading them. And in some cases, I'm not even sure if they're reading the IPCC reports that are summarized for the policymakers, which are shorter reports, and even, they're designed to make it easier for them to understand the main conclusions from all the research that goes into the IPCC studies, which are extremely comprehensive and they take 8 years to put those reports together. I think it's about 8 years. And they go through thousands of documents. They have to assess all of the models that are out there, and then put these ranges of certainty or uncertainty on what's likely to happen. These are, we have to take that seriously. There is a really big risk. So yeah, the politicians still are not listening. That's the bottom line. So climate activists have to find a way to get them to listen. Climate activists also are saying, we want system change, not climate change. So need to come up with a way to create that system change, which is, and within that area is where I think Bitcoin is useful. The other thing climate activists I'm starting to see is more climate activists going after the banking system, which I think is really important, and a key component that I myself realized a little bit earlier than some of them, some of the leaders, I would say, the more prominent ones like Bill McKibben. But I feel that they're still missing a solution or a tool to that, which is to utilize Bitcoin as a form of protest, as a way to move your value or your money out of the banking system into basically being your own bank, or creating community banks with Bitcoin that are, self-custodied or custodied within the community itself, and taking responsibility for your life, really, I think is going to be a really important part of climate activism going forward. Is we have to start creating these communities that are really living what we want to see in the future, or the way we want society to be. And it's not easy. It's really easy for me to say that we have to do that, but it's very hard to do. But we really have to start moving in those directions, I think. So I think climate activists, the climate movement, at some point has to face reality, in the sense that you're fighting against a system that is entrenched, and a society that is built entirely on fossil fuels. Our entire civilization, where we got from the 1950s globally to the present, is a result of cheap fossil fuels, fossil fuel derived energy, fossil fuel products, plastics, petrochemicals, medicines, our clothes, our homes, everything fossil fuels touches in our lives. And we have to think about that and realize it's going to be really, really hard to get government to break away from that, if that is what we need to do. If the science the results, the conclusions from the scientific studies and the modeling all say that we have to reduce or at some point eliminate entirely our reliance on fossil fuels, then this requires us to start creating areas in society that don't rely on them. And I think markets and Bitcoin all play a role in that, because we have to create these new ways of being. And to be clear, I'm not advocating for markets to be part of all aspects of our life. I don't actually believe that that should be the case, but they do have a role, and Bitcoin has a role. Anything that can be used as a tool from the bottom up, from the grassroots level, to create change has to be considered. And climate activists need to realize that. But we have the challenge, which is the thing that I'm working on, which is trying to get them to see that Bitcoin isn't bad for the environment, isn't going to kill us. You know, it's not going to make climate change worse. We can get them, my fellow climate activists, over that hump. I think things will be very exciting and hopeful.